You're listening to Raw Mike Richards, brought to you by Bell Lifestyle Products on Newstalk Saga 960. And now, from the Bell Lifestyle Studio, here's Mike and Dave.
641 Newstalk Saga 960, Raw Mike Richards. Even though the backbone of the show is sports, then of course it trails off into many different, I gotta be honest, very sophisticated areas.
That's true.
It's not for everybody. I hate to talk over people's heads, but you know, being incredibly educated, very well read. Sometimes I even smoke a pipe. But you just never know when the topic of real estate comes up, because in this day and age, to not the relevance of whether you're talking about your kids, you know, and at this point, your parents selling their house? You know, they get to a point where maybe they want to sell the house. Are they going to go to a seniors complex or condos? Or, you know, there's really very rare times where you're probably realistically not talking about real estate. And when you talk about the GTA right now, if you're talking about Mississauga, you realize what a challenge this is. So we have to go to our good friend Tim Hudak, and you are the what is the title of the Ontario Real Estate Association? You're the czar? Is that what you told me?
Czar, you know, capo, head honcho, coach, I don't know, all that kind of stuff. Officially, chief executive officer. I like saying that, Mike. Thanks for asking.
That feels good. Hey, buddy, thanks so much for joining us. You know, it's always great when you get a chance to catch up with you. We love it.
Pleasure to be back on with you guys on Saga 960. You do great work.
Now, looking at the, you have a big conference coming up, and I imagine in the, I don't know if challenges is the word, but you certainly have a lot of different factors in as opposed to probably being a real estate agent in 1970 or 1980. Now there's a lot of things that encompass probably what that job entails. So when you look at this conference, REALiTY 2020, what are some of those topics going to be? Because I imagine there's going to be a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it, Mike, in the intro. It's become a big part of our culture around home ownership, housing, particularly in Peel region, the Greater Toronto, Hamilton area. And everybody either is experiencing this or their neighbor is, where, you know, they've got a son or daughter who played by the rules. She did the right thing. She got her degree. She got a decent job, but she can't find a place to get her life moving forward again that she can afford. So coming up on February 25 through February 27 in Niagara Falls, we're going to be having the REALiTY Conference. Your listeners who are in real estate or fans of real estate can check out the details at realityconference.ca. But we're going to take on the tough issues that exist in real estate today. And we're also going to expose those that go into attendance to some new brands that are coming in, some new technology that will hopefully make that home buying experience more enjoyable, faster, and ultimately more affordable.
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Well, when you start talking about those kinds of issues in this area, do you find that geographically, when we start going across the GTA, because it's huge, is the trend, whatever that trend would be, is it basically the same from, let's say, I don't know, from Bowmanville to the Oshawa, the far stretches of Durham, all the way to this side to Peel, as you said, into to the Hamilton market? What are the fluctuations? Are they generally, is it like a wide brush that we're sweeping across? Is it similar?
Yeah, it is. There's no doubt that that whole area that you laid out there, the Greater Toronto Hamilton area, is the epicenter when it comes to the housing affordability crisis, particularly people trying to get into their first home or even a move-up home if they have kids and they need a bit more space. There's no doubt that across the province of Ontario as a whole, the lack of choice, the lack of inventory, houses in the market is an issue. But the big ground zero is definitely the Greater Toronto Hamilton area. The good news is there are solutions on the table.
Interesting. Hey, Tim, great talking to you this morning. You brought up in one of your answers new technology in selling a home and selling any sort of real estate that you are looking to buy or purchase or anything or sell. There was a time not too long ago where sometimes you would look up a house and it may not even have pictures, but we've come a long, long way here in 2020. What are some of those things that we could see not only at the REALiTY Conference, but some that you might be introducing to other real estate agents who will be in attendance, people watching and people actually going to this event?
Yeah, I mean, Dave, you're too young to remember those days, and certainly Mike Richards, was a baby back in those days. But there was a big debate, whether you started putting pictures of homes online, that was going to cost real estate agents business. People would no longer come into the office. The opposite has been true. As technology has emerged, more people are using a realtor because it's such a big investment. It's complex. You need somebody in your corner. So at a reality conference, and again, realityconference.ca, we're going to explore that big debate. There's a ton of investment going into something called PropTech. That's short for property technology. Some people are betting that realtors will be replaced by robots and that people will just go to a robot or online to buy a home. I don't believe that. I think the work a realtor does is too critically important to your financial well-being and to the emotional link with your family. So others are betting on the realtor. How can we get more information to realtors faster and their clients so that they get save time on the search, they get the kind of house that they're looking at, and you speed up the process. So a big part of convention at Reality Conference is what's the technology that's going to make that exchange easier, closer at hand, and get you more useful information faster.
So this conference is not only good for the general public, but real estate agents should be attending something this big.
Yeah, you got it. So we last time we sold out, and I think we will this time as well.
Mm-hmm.
It does attract realtors, people who are associated with the business, say on the mortgage side or building, for example, but also fans of real estate in general are welcome to come. We have one guy who's going to be talking about if you want to have some investment income, you want to get a rental or two to save your retirement in the long term. What are the best places in the province now to purchase those? Another area we're exploring is there's a number of new brands that have been really big in the States that most Canadians have never heard of. They're new technology companies, perhaps, that use realtors. They're innovators. They claim they're going to shake up the Canadian marketplace. Well, we put them on the stage to say, let's just see what this is all about.
Mm-hmm. We're in conversation with Tim Hudak here on Newstalk Saga 960. We're talking real estate. Reality 2020 is the conference, and it's interesting how you now approach real estate from an online perspective, because I still think as much as it is easy to do, and we're in an Amazon world where we're just hitting keys and purchasing things, I think that a home is something that does have emotional ties to it. There is a real human side to being in a house. But what if, let's say, and I mentioned, so on the one side of the far stretch of the GTA, let's say you're in Oshawa, and you think there's some value somewhere, maybe just outside of Hamilton. So you go online, you find a house in an area that you think that you would like to live in, and you're looking at all the pictures, which is great. But still, there has to be that connection, I guess, when you travel to go and I guess choose a real estate agent. How do people, as a buyer, decide on a home that they like that is out of their area? How do you know you're getting the right real estate agent?
Aha. So I'd say go to Reality Conference. Your question's a great one because we're actually launching a study on that. So we have polled people who have recently been in the housing market. We said, how did you find your agent? Were you satisfied with your real estate agent's work for you? Would you use them again? So we're going to produce a report in partnership with Ipsos Reid of a massive study on how that selection is made and what people have learned from that. Obviously you want to do your homework. You want to know somebody who knows the neighborhood, who's going to know what things are going to be happening in the backyard, where values are going. This is the biggest financial decision people will make in their lives. And let me add one more thing, too, on the technology marriage here to making that choice to buy a home. We're going to have a very large trade show, and people can scope out some of these new technologies. I'll give you an example of one that we've come across. Imagine walking into a house, and maybe the house hasn't been fixed up too much. So you take out your iPhone, or the real estate agent does, or her iPad, and you can actually focus on that part of the kitchen, click a button, and see how it will look transformed. So there's new paint, new cabinets.
Yeah.
You're in the living room. You say, well, let's change the carpet, and let's put the couch over there. And then you can actually use companies like Wayfair, for example, and start picking those things out, and they show up to your house after you make the purchase. There's some amazing things you can actually do to make that experience more rewarding and really hit the emotional side of when you're moving into a new home.
The Reality 2020 conference takes place in Niagara Falls, February 25th to the 27th. You're also going to have, I'm just looking on the site right now, Tim, a massive amount of guest speakers talking about a wide range of subjects. Is there anybody that you're kind of personally looking forward to? I know it's hard to pinpoint just one or two, but based on how many people you have, it's an incredible list.
Yeah, so look, we've got some of the major Canadian companies, leaders that are going to give the voice of their experience and insight in the marketplace, and that's from RE/MAX to Royal LePage to Coldwell Banker. And then we have some celebrity guest speakers that I think not only people in real estate, but fans of real estate will like. Courtney Wilson, she's a co-host of HGTV's Masters of Flip. She's Canadian. She's working out of Nashville, Tennessee. Very charismatic. So she and Landscape Jeff are going to be appearing at the conference together for the first time. And fans of marketing is a guy named Seth Godin. He's probably North America's leading expert on new marketing trends in the era of social media, best-selling author. He'll take our stage. And whether you're on radio or in your real estate, negotiations. We actually have a guy named Chris Voss. He's the former chief negotiator for the FBI, right? All those kidnapping, hostage-taking, whatever.
Yes.
He's now doing private sector advising on how to be a master negotiator. That's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that one.
Now, I got to ask this question. Do you watch any of those real estate shows like $1 Million Listings? Because I watch them all the time. I'm fascinated by it, even though I couldn't afford anything that they talk about. Yeah, the other day I found a pork chop on the side of the road, and it was a good day for me, Tim. So I'm not buying a lot.
Believe it or not, it's, my wife Debbie, she's the one that is the big HGTV fan. So when I'm looking at people, who should we invite to our conference? She's got a bit of a go-to checklist, right?
She knows them all. Now, and I do have to ask, is there going to be like a former Boston Bruin great talking for some reason that no one understands?
You're just going to have Terry O'Reilly storm the stage, right? If somebody's up there too long, he's going to sort of take him into the corner and rough him up so he can stay on schedule. But just on what you said about the growth of the interest in real estate and, doing renovations and such, there is no doubt that that's very popular. You see that because more and more people want to get into the business. We run the real estate college currently, and Humber does as well. If you want to be a realtor, you go through our school to be Humber. And the growth, Mike and Dave, a number of people who want to get in this business has been huge. I think they see it on TV and they say, it just takes an hour. We have 3 people and then bang, the job is done. Well, not so much in real life. Pretty tough job. You really got to hustle. But I think we'll have a lot of fans of real estate at the Reality Conference as a result.
What qualities do you think it really does take to be a successful real estate agent? Because, as you said, it's not television. It's not what we see. It's an edited show in 30 minutes and a house is sold. What is the understanding that you need to have to be successful in that business?
You've got to be a consummate master of a set of critical skills. First, you got to be a people person, right? You've got to be that. You got to have somebody's back, earn their trust, understand them, be their advocate when the going gets tough during negotiations. Every good realtor will develop that not only with their individual client, but their families as well. You also have to be a researcher. You have to stay on top of your game of what's happening in the neighborhood, where prices are going, what the properties are like. The facility with technology is increasingly important because, as our report will show, more people are starting with their own online searches, and nothing will ever replace good old-fashioned hustle and customer service. I was in politics. That's damn competitive. It's patty cake compared to real estate. There's so many agents, so many different brands. Nothing protects them. Nobody has to use a realtor, although they should. So if you're not hustling, you're not looking after the customer, then you're going to fall behind.
Well, Tim, best of luck with what will be, I'm sure, a great conference. It's going to be fun as well. It's in Niagara Falls, which is a great location, and obviously you know that area very, very well. So I think it'll be educational, but it'll be also very entertaining as well. As you are, my friend, thanks so much for joining us here this morning, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. I would like to catch up.
Yep, Mike, David, thanks very much. Always a pleasure to be on Saga 96. You guys keep up the great work.